Good day. We'll be presenting on data visualization techniques. So we start by defining data visualization. What is data visualization? This is an interdisciplinary field that deals with the graphic representation of data and information. It is an efficient way of communicating when the data or information is numerous. For example, a time series. What is the purpose of data visualizations? The main purpose of data visualization, according to the diagram, is to communicate. And looking at the diagram, by communicating, we start by driving the action. Then we inform, to persuade, or to entertain. These are all forms of communication, right? Why data visualization? Data scientists choose data visualization because it simplifies the complex quantitative information since it is presented in pictorial form. It analyzes and explores big data easily. It also identifies the areas for implementation and improvement. It identifies the relationship between data points and variables. Data visualization also explores new patterns and reviews the hidden patterns. The major considerations include clarity, accuracy, and efficiency. This is why data scientists choose data visualization or presenting data in pictorial form. We also have the factors to take note before data visualization. First of all, we look at the visual effect. And the visual effect is how the data is going to be presented, right? And then the coordination system. The coordination system comes in place when we are talking about certain type of data which is supposed to be presented in certain types of data visualization or in other techniques of data visualizations, because some data is best presented in a specific way of a technique. And then there are data types and scale. And then we have informative interception. The importance of data visualization. Number one, analyzing data in a better way. And then number two, it's a faster, it encompasses faster decision making. And then number three, making sense of complicated data. And then number four, it shows trends over time, since the diagrams will be framed. And then number five, examining the market. In most business organizations, they use data visualization as a way of examining the trends on the market. So we're getting to the core of the presentation, where we have the data visualization techniques. So we have managed to list 10 major techniques or traditional techniques that are common. We have the pie chart, the line graph, the bar chart, the histogram plot, the time series, the scatter plot, summary table, the heat map, box and whisker plots, and then the area charts. So now we are defining each technique. We are starting with graphs. A graph is a picture representative for one or more sets of information and how these visually relate to one another. For almost any numerical dataset, there is a graph type which is appropriate for representing it. Using a graph can help depict data, and a well-made graph conveys information quickly. All right.
Now we are going to move on to pie charts. A pie chart is one of the very basic and well-known techniques of data visualization. It is very simple and easy to understand. Like, it is a circular statistical graph that supposes pieces to clarify numerical ratios. Thus, here the arc size of each piece is equal to the amount it indicates. So there is how it works now. Put your data in a table, then add up all the values to get a total. Divide each value by the total and multiply by 100 to get a percentage. The 4th degree is 360. So calculate, for example, 4 over 20 by 36. Then use a protractor to measure the slice. Let's look at an example. Now, here a company witnessed a growth of 150%, in which they found out 60% of the growth was due to marketing, 40% was due to sales, and 30% was due to the product, as well as 20% was due to technology adoption. So here's the statistical representation. As you can see on the picture, we have 30%, 40%, 20%, and 60% respectively, as said in the information above. Now, we're going to move on to the line graph. It is used to plot the relationship of independence of one variable on another, like you want to show data over every long periods to continuously changing data. The line graph could be a solid option to consider. Okay. Secondly, to plot the connection between the two variables, we can basically call the plot function. The line chart is most often used to indicate trends and evaluate how the data has changed over time. The plotted peaks and dips on the grid allow you to monitor and compare improvement and decline. Should state whether there is an improvement or not after an examination of the whole line graph. Here's an example of the graph. So here, like the graph below, showing change over time. As you can see, the graph is self-explanatory. Now we're going to move on to the bar chart. It is a graphical display of data using bars of different heights. It is also known as a Pareto diagram and can be horizontal or vertical. Hence, values of a category are addressed with the aid of bars, and they can be designed with vertical or flat bars, with the length or height of each bar addressing the value. Mostly good when data is in categories, for an example, Maths English, but when using continuous data, a person's height then histogram will do. That simply means that a bar graph or a bar chart is preferably used under discrete data, that is data without continuous information like height. Now, we want to move on. If you want to examine data over time, or the data is assembled in multiple sectors like different industries, variety of food, etc., a bar graph is the best option with some characteristics or some sort of thorough ideas. Now, NB, take note of this. Leave gaps between bars of a bar graph so that it doesn't look like a histogram. So here we can actually see the difference between a histogram and a bar graph in the spaces between the graph. If the graphs are actually joined together, that represents continuous data, which is under a histogram, and here we can see that this is discrete data under a bar graph. Now,
histograms. Unlike bar charts, histograms illustrate the distribution of data over a continuous interval or defined period. So these visualizations are helpful in identifying where values are concentrated and as well as where there are gaps or unusual values. Histograms are especially useful for showing the frequency of a particular occurrence. For instance, if you'd like to show how many clicks your website received each day over the last week, you can use an histogram. From this visualization, you can quickly determine which days your website saw the greatest and fewest number of clicks. Ranges of values are listed at the bottom and they are called classes. Taller bars represent the classes with the greatest frequency, as shown below. Time series graph. Represented in a time series graph at various time points. The vertical axis is for data values, whilst the horizontal axis shows time. It can be used for showing trends passing through a time period. Timelines are also used to communicate time-related information and display historical data. Timelines allow you to highlight the most important events that occurred or need to occur in the future and make it easy for viewer to identify any patterns appearing with a selected time period. Scatter plots. A scatter plot has points that show the relationship between two sets of data. It displays paired data using the vertical axis, that's the y-axis, and the horizontal axis, that's the x-axis. Scatter plots use horizontal axis, whilst vertical axis to plot quantitative independent or dependent variables in order to visualize the correlation between two variables. Scatter plots are similar to line graphs in that they graph quantitative data points. However, scatter plots do not connect individual data points with a line, but instead express a trend. So the trend can be represented through the distribution of points or through the addition of a trend line or regression line. Figure 9 depicts the relationship between the illiterate population and marginal workers for a town in India 6. Within this depiction, a positive correlation exists between these two variables. As the illiterate population, the independent variable increases. There is a linear increase in the marginal worker population, the dependent variable. There is also the summary table. A summary table also can be called a pivot table. It uses groups and statistics to transform your raw data into a more accessible format. You can use a summary table to calculate counts and statistics, including sum, average, minimum, maximum, median, and percentile for unique categories in your data using the number of fields in your dataset, as shown below. Heat maps. Heat map is a method of graphically representing numerical data where the value of each data point is indicated using colors. They help visualize the volume of location, events within a dataset and assist in the directing viewers towards areas on data visualizations that matter most. Allows for visualizing correlation tables and visualizing missing values in the data, mostly used to show user behavior on specific web pages or web page templates. Here there is the heat map illustration. Then go next to box and whisker plot. It gives a visual outline of information through its quartiles. First, a box is drawn from the first quartile to the third of the dataset. A line within the box represents the median. Whiskers or lines are then drawn extending from the box to the minimum, the lower extreme, and then the maximum, the upper extreme. Outliers are then represented by individual points that are gasps or unusual values. There is the box and whisker. We go on to the area charts.
In continuation to area charts, it is a variation of basic line graph in which the area underneath the line is shaded to represent the total value of each data point. When several data series must be compared on the same graph, staked area charts are used. This method of data visualization is useful for showing changes in one or more quantities over time, as well as showing how each quantity combines to make up the whole. Staked area charts are effective in showing part-time or comparisons. While the examples listed above are some of the most commonly used techniques, there are many other ways you can visualize data to become a more effective communicator. Some other data visualization options include bubble clouds, cartograms, circle views, dendrograms, only to name a few.
So as we wrap up the presentation on data visualization helps in identifying errors and inaccuracies in data quickly. It also promotes storytelling in the most compelling way. Visuals are used in the most meaningful way to convey the right message to the audience. It enables enterprises to stay on top of their game by discovering the latest trends through data visualization tools. Those different data visualization tools are easy to trace on which is trending or what is not trending in the market. Without data visualization, businesses would have to spend tons of their time customizing reports and modifying dashboards, replying to ad hoc requests, etc. The benefits of data visualization tools is to optimize and instantly retrieve data via tailor-made reports or custom-made reports, which significantly cuts down on employee time. This simply means that data visualization reduces the cumbersomeness of the data which is going to be presented to anyone who is consuming the data which is being presented. So that is it for data visualization, and the presentation was compiled by Group 4.